Hello, my name is Mary Catherine Perkin, and I'm a Communicative Disorders Assistant at Bentley Hearing. Today I'm excited to talk about one of the fantastic companies that we are proud to work with, Oticon. Oticon's mission began over 100 years ago. In 1904, Hans de Mont wanted to help his wife Camilla live a better life, not hindered by her hearing loss. Hans helped Camilla with one of the first electronic hearing aids in the world. From this foundation of care, Oticon grew towards their vision of the world where hearing loss is not a limitation. Today, Oticon is unique in their focus on the connection between hearing and the brain. In fact, they have even developed brain hearing technology for hearing aids.
At Oticon, we think of hearing care differently. We learned long ago that we hear with our brains, not just with our ears. That made it very clear that in order to provide the most innovative hearing care technology, we must understand how the brain makes sense of sound. This has led to our unique philosophy called brain hearing. Decades of research has confirmed that hearing is in fact a cognitive process, and therefore effective treatment of hearing loss is more than just amplifying sounds. At Oticon, we believe that a good hearing process is based on the brain working as nature intended. The brain is the most sophisticated sound processor there is, and that makes hearing loss a really complex problem. This has led us to a really important question. What exactly does the brain need to make sense of sound? New science has shown that the brain needs access to the full sound scene to process and understand all of the sounds that we encounter in a natural, balanced way. In order for the brain to understand the sounds it is presented with, we must be able to recognize what is being heard. This is why listening and understanding speech becomes so challenging if you have a hearing loss. The hearing loss results in distorted information reaching the brain, making it difficult and sometimes impossible to match the speech with information that's stored in your long-term memory. Essentially, your brain is trying to complete a puzzle without all of the pieces. The result is something that anyone living with a hearing loss can relate to. You can often hear that someone is speaking, but the difficulty lies in understanding all of the words clearly enough to participate in the conversation confidently. How many times have you found yourself in just such a situation, where you find you can't understand those around you, or you can see things in your environment, but not hear that they are there? We want to avoid cutting people off from the natural sounds around them, because that goes completely against the brain's natural way of working. It's crucial that we give the brain full access to sounds, including speech, so it can prioritize what to attend to. When we leave a hearing loss untreated, the limited sounds that are reaching the brain can turn a hearing problem into a brain problem. Some consequences of leaving hearing loss untreated include increased listening effort and fatigue, increased cognitive load, reorganization of unstimulated areas of the brain, and accelerated cognitive decline. Studies show that these brain problems can actually then turn into life problems. With an untreated hearing loss, you may experience an increased risk of social isolation and depression, impaired balance and fall-related injuries, and an increased risk of dementia. Mild hearing loss can actually increase the risk of dementia twofold, while severe hearing loss increases the risk of dementia by up to 5 times. The reason for this association between untreated hearing loss and increased risk of cognitive decline is one many of us can relate to. Often the effort to try to understand conversations with multiple people or interactions in a noisy place is just too much. We end up avoiding those situations altogether. This leads to less socialization, but interacting with others is what keeps our brains healthy. To put the role of untreated hearing loss into perspective, let's look at the latest review on causes for dementia from The Lancet, the highest-ranking medical journal in the world. They have identified top risk factors leading to dementia and found that the majority, 60%, are causes beyond our control, for instance, our genetics. But 40% of the risk factors to dementia were found to be modifiable. This means they are aspects of our life that we can change. When these factors are stacked up, hearing loss turns out to be the biggest risk factor that is within our control. Of course, this doesn't mean that everyone with hearing loss will develop dementia, but science is showing that there is a link. Thankfully, research is also very encouraging that this can be turned around. So you may be wondering, what can we do to help those with a hearing loss to better support the brain? By treating the hearing loss, we may be able to prevent or delay the risk for dementia. Here at Oticon, we have been working on technologies that better support the brain for over 20 years. Hearing aids are about more than improving the sound in the ear. They must work with the brain as well. That's why we invest in our own dedicated research facility where we innovate ways to support how the brain naturally works. Hearing technology needs to work with the brain and support natural sound processing. This is the core of the brain hearing philosophy. To help people with hearing loss, the hearing aids must deliver a good neural code that is easy for the brain to interpret. And no matter the type of hearing loss, hearing aids must be able to ensure that all relevant sounds are accessible, clear, comfortable, and audible in any situation. And now, with all of this research in mind, we are thrilled to introduce our latest hearing aid technology, Oticon More. Oticon More is the first hearing aid that is able to give the brain access to all the sounds in a sound scene, providing the brain with the full perspective. It is powered by cutting-edge technology and processes the full sound scene in a holistic and balanced way, ultimately delivering on our unique brain hearing philosophy. With this new perspective in hearing care, Oticon More breaks with conventional thinking by supporting the brain's natural ability to make sense of sound. And so that negative chain of events, the brain problems that turn into life problems, can actually be flipped into positive benefits and more freedom to live life to its fullest and having the confidence to participate in more difficult listening environments than ever before. The technology in Oticon More ensures the brain gets access to the full sound scene, so sounds are better organized, speech is clear and distinct, and background noise is less disturbing. We want to do the best we can for the brain, so we always work to better understand the brain and how it makes sense of sound. This is what sets Oticon apart. We think brain first. Hearing care is health care. Brain hearing support is important for people of all ages, from developing speech and language to learning in a classroom, performing at work, and maintaining an active social life. This is Oticon's brain hearing philosophy for life-changing technology. What brings the technology to life is you. And the trusted hearing care professionals at Bentley Hearing Services can help you to get more out of life with Oticon More.
Thank you for watching this video. Give us a call at 226-393-5922. If you have any questions, we are always happy to chat.